So after seeing this nonsense coming from the regulator, we obviously suspect that that is our problem on this motorcycle. But to be 100% sure that we're chasing the right problem here, let's check all the three terminals on the regulator just to make sure we have a good, like we drew here, good ground, good feed, which we didn't check yet, and the DF, which had all that up and down, almost like a square wave on the waveform. Now the regulator, and before I drew it as a switch, but you can also think of it as a variable resistor. So depending on what the voltage is at D+, the regulator adjusts the voltage of DF accordingly to maintain the battery at the specified, whatever the regulator is supposed to be set to. So if this little adjustment moves closer to D+, then we'll put more voltage on this field coil and have more output from our system. If the battery is getting overcharged, we'll move down here towards ground and we'll basically shut off the field coil and shut off the charging system. So it is supposed to be variable. Now in this case, since we're seeing a square wave, it just might be almost like a duty cycle, so it's switching between off and on depending on the duty cycle. Will be more on or more off. So the regulator might be functional, but it's definitely not set at the right voltage. And for the original regulator, there's no way to set the voltage. It's just set at the factory. So at this point we'll do a few final checks, and I guess I'll have to order a new regulator, see if I can find one for this vintage machine here, and maybe I'll put that in part 2. So now I hooked up the fourth channel here. So we have a 4-channel scope, why not use it? So let's just see what we're measuring at this point. First of all, on the battery, that's our channel 1, just the voltage. We're monitoring battery voltage. That's straightforward. Channel 2, we're monitoring the output current straight out of the rectifier to the system. So that's, we still have our amp probe hooked up here to our jumper wire. Make sure it's not touching any hot exhaust parts. So there's the diode board there. So we already know how that is hooked up. Channel 3, we're still monitoring the voltage on the field coil as before, that green alligator clip right there. And channel 4, finally, the new one that I added, let's see what the D+ terminal looks like. Okay, so maybe an explanation is if these rectifiers, these 3 that we really haven't checked yet, if they're malfunctioning, then D+ won't be at battery voltage, so the regulator might start doing something crazy. And so we'll monitor that voltage on channel 4, and we'll see how it runs, and maybe do the bypass test again and see what this voltage, how that changes. And that'll for sure verify these 3 diodes are also sound. Alright, so what are we seeing here? Battery voltage is at 12, that's the yellow trace. Now pay attention to the blue and the red trace. So blue is the field coil voltage and the red is the D+ terminal going into the regulator. Rev it up a little bit. battery's D plus is at 13.6 volts, which is great. You know, it's a little above battery voltage as it should be. But our regulator is still cutting out before reaching the threshold there. Remember, our amperage is about 8 amps right there. Alright, at this point, so I think at this point we have enough evidence to condemn the regulator. I'll go ahead and see what I can find online, aftermarket or OEM, and we'll plug it in and compare before and after. The one thing I did forget to do is the full field test with our jumper wire here. So let's start it back up, and I'm just going to touch the battery positive terminal and focus you in on the scope, and we'll see how all these voltages react to a direct, bypass test here. Jumper. Alright, time for a new regulator. So I unbolted the old regulator here. Here's the connector for it. So 3-pin connector on the bottom. And see what it says here. West Germany 881. So this is the original unit, and it actually says 14 volts on there. So that should be the set point. Now our new unit, it's aftermarket. I just found this company on Google. Euromotoelectrics.com and Duralast. So apparently people have been putting these puppies in, upgrading their charging systems. They also make alternators and rectifiers, so you can upgrade your whole system, and the reviews seem to be decent, so we're going to try this out. If you buy a new one from a dealer, this box is about 80 bucks. This is about half price. And the cool thing is there's actually a variable resistor right here that you can tweak and adjust their voltage. So that's cool. So I think it's pre-adjusted to 14.3. So let's bolt this on, plug it in, and we still have our scope set up, so we'll just start up and see how it runs. Alright, we're shooting live now. I installed the new regulator. So We're just gonna start it up and cross our fingers and hope for the best. So here we go. Try to minimize the glare. Kind of hard to do with all the sunlight today. It's actually been cloudy the last couple of days. Alright. It is full fielding the alternator, so we're getting 10 amps but at a lower RPM. When I turn it up a little bit, you'll see it'll start regulating. We're already at more than 10 amps, right? And our battery voltage is climbing. So let's leave the headlight on for a bit, shut it off, and drain the battery, and see if it full fields it after a little battery drain. So I've had the headlight on for, I don't know, 3-4 minutes here. The battery voltage has dropped to 11.8. So let's redo our test here. We'll start it up and see if we can get more than 10 amps, as we couldn't out of the old regulator. Here we go. 13, 14, 15, 16. So we might have to tweak that little screw on the regulator to up the voltage a little more, since the battery in this thing is actually not a old lead acid, it's just a sealed type, and you can charge these a little higher without boiling them. So yeah, we're basically done here. So let me just do a final tweak and I'll get you a final shot. So final shot here of the battery voltage with the headlight on and the regulator adjusted. So if you remember before, it wasn't charging much over, I don't know, 12.5 volts. Now it's almost at 14, and I guess the best final test would be to trickle charge the battery overnight again and make sure it doesn't go above 14.5. But you know what? I'm just gonna take it for a spin and do a final check after the little test drive here, and I think we can call this one fixed. All right, thanks for watching. So I think one of the coolest things about this business, being a freelance mechanic, is you get to test drive a lot of cool vehicles. So let's take this puppy for a spin. I got the voltmeter hooked up, and we'll just monitor the charging voltage and enjoy this beautiful day. A little bonus material for you. Alright, we're at 12.6 volts starting out. Pain in the butt, get off the side center stand here. Shot. I see the road and the voltmeter. A little bit of everything. Get my screwdriver so we can adjust this on the fly. A little off-roading here. we're charging great. 14.4 volts, maybe tweak it down a little bit, but we're good to go. Thanks for watching, guys.